everyone. Welcome to TCM Talk. Hi, I am Kirsten Cowan, licensed acupuncturist and herbalist.
Hi, I'm Denise Chiquita, licensed acupuncturist and Chinese herbalist, and welcome to TCM Talk.
All this month on TCM Talk, we're going to be talking about happy, healthy cycles. We're celebrating International Women's Day and Women's History Month by a special...
We catch an error.
I don't know. We got an error.
I don't know. It looks fine.
It's the year of the monkey, so we're just rolling with the unpredictable monkey business that keeps happening.
Yes.
If you were with us for our last scope, you know that we had a scopus interruptus. So here we go. Here we go again with number 2. That's really our first scope. We're going to do 3 scopes back to back today. This first one will be a little bit about premenstrual syndrome and how Chinese medicine understands that, and some specific foods to avoid and include for different types of symptoms that folks have. And then next we'll be talking about herbs, essential oils, and some self-care practices like acupressure and qigong that you can do for PMS. Everything that we talk about, including archives of all of our past broadcasts, can be found on our Pinterest board, bit.ly/Periscope pins. And you can also contact us or ask us questions that you'd like answered in a future broadcast, traditional Chinese medicine talk @gmail.com.
And you can also tweet us, find us on our Facebook page. There's lots of places on the World Wide Web to find us and ask us questions. And you can ask right here, right now, and give us hearts. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks to everyone joining us on the replay.
Yes.
So a little brief overview of how we understand PMS as Chinese medicine practitioners. So we don't really see it the same way that it's seen in Western medicine, although the term PMS is a really convenient one. In Chinese medicine, the closest term that we have for that is something called menstrual movement disease. And this gives a good indication of how we understand the whole constellation of symptoms that that what we would call PMS in Western terms. So that's headaches and moodiness and irritability, bloating and water retention, breast distension, cramping, which can really, show the gamut from mildly uncomfortable to really severe. And we understand all of these as having to do with a dysfunction in the flow of energy in the body. And everything that we do to try to correct it is really looking at regulating that flow of energy, opening up the energy pathways so that the energy can flow unfettered and comfortably in the body. So on that score, we would use one of the best ways to regulate energy in the body is with what you eat. What you eat can have a huge impact, both positively and negatively, on different symptoms. And in general, there are foods that that we would consider less healthy, that we would encourage most people to leave out of their diet. And those are processed foods and foods like sugar and white flour, both of which are, pretty processed substances as well. But aside from that, Chinese medicine doesn't really categorize foods into good foods and bad foods. There's foods that are the right food for a particular person at the right time, or foods that are not the right food. So even these, some of the things that I'm going to talk about in terms of foods but for different symptoms. It's not so much that a food is a bad food, but it might be a food you'd want to avoid, especially the week before you generally have your symptoms.
When you want ice cream and cake and candy.
Exactly. Might not be the best time to have it. And the healing foods that I'll talk about, the foods that can be beneficial for those symptoms, are ones, again, that you'll want to add in that week before you have your symptoms. I've recently written an article about this with a little infographic that touches on all the foods I'm going to talk about today, and you can find that on my website, angelicaandpeony.com. And it's also shared on our Twitter and Facebook feed for TCM Talk, so you can always refer back to that there as well. So the first symptom I'm going to talk about, one that a lot of people experience premenstrually, is water retention. This can be, bloating in the fingers and the ankles, stomach, bloating, all over the whole body, or in the breast, causing discomfort and distension. And so 2 foods that you might want to avoid if this is an issue for you would be wheat and salty foods. No big surprise there. So with salty foods, it's especially things where salt is really the primary flavor. So things like potato chips or really salty popcorn or pickled foods I don't know why pickled or why dried squid is coming to mind. Probably not necessarily a favorite snack of everybody watching, but it is a favorite snack of mine.
Or, I don't know, Icelandic rotten shark.
Icelandic rotten shark also would be not recommended if you experience a lot of water retention. Salt itself is not necessarily bad. I mean, adding a little bit of sea salt to your food, in fact, can be beneficial for water retention. So we're really talking about really salty snack type foods where you're really going to be taking in a lot of salt. Those will definitely aggravate water retention. And some foods to include, which can help the body let go of excess water, include mung beans, leafy greens like spinach, and dandelion root tea. Those are all great natural diuretics that you can add into your diet. If you're experiencing a lot of moodiness and irritability, sad to say that a lot of sweets and chocolate both will perhaps make you feel better in the moment, but overall, leaving those out of your diet, not necessarily permanently, but certainly the week to 10 days before you generally start to get those symptoms showing up for you, you'll see improvement by letting go of those in that time. And some foods to add in would be, my battery's running out, legumes and beans, sesame seeds, and for that sweet flavor without the sugar crash, try adding a teaspoon of honey into your tea. For a gentle sweetness that is comforting, can comfort you when you feel irritable without giving you those highs and lows. If breast distension is something that you are experiencing a lot of, coffee is something to let go of. Again, I'm sorry to say, but you may have already experienced this. It's the correlation between the two is very clear, both generally and in Chinese medicine. But some foods that can really help relieve those feelings include lemon water, so just squeezing some lemon into room temperature water and drinking that, especially in the morning.
Go
ahead.
Why is it especially in the morning? I know that everybody always recommends having lemon water in the morning. Can you explain that?
That's a good idea. That's a good question. I'm not sure how I would answer that exactly.
We'll get back to you.
Yeah.
On the next TCM Talk scope.
Yes, exactly. Dandelions and other bitter greens, the bitter flavor is really beneficial for the liver channel. The liver channel runs along the side of the breast and is something that we want to regulate in traditional Chinese medicine in terms of how we see PMS. So you don't necessarily need to know where all those channels are to benefit from moving the energy in them. Mint is another great herb/food that will help with breast distension and that type of discomfort. Headaches, again, the lemon water and mint tea will can help relieve those. And a traditional herbal remedy from Chinese medicine involves boiling oyster shells and other kind of very calcium-rich natural substances. We can replicate that really easily with a supplement like Nature Calm, magnesium calcium supplement can be really helpful if you're experiencing headaches premenstrually. If acne is something that flares up for you before your period, leaving out dairy and very greasy foods can definitely be a helpful thing to do, especially again in that week to 10 days before that flares up for you. And some foods to include would be dandelion greens again, and also beet greens, really beneficial to clear the system and help reduce acne type symptoms. And finally, if you're experiencing some cramping in that week before your period, so not menstrual cramps, but kind of premenstrually, or digestive problems, obviously for the digestive problems, mint tea is a great easy solution. And for cramping, I like to recommend warming herbs like cinnamon, fennel, and ginger tea, all of which, interestingly, have been studied now from a Western perspective and shown to be actually quite effective for menstrual cramps.
Does that make, rose tea? Meigoi
Yes,
we
absolutely.
call it in Chinese medicine.
Rosebud tea, which increasingly is available. You can find rosebuds in Middle Eastern markets as well as in some better health food stores that maybe have a herbal section. They're considered a food or just a tea in many cultures. Very beneficial for PMS, especially moodiness and irritability. They taste and look wonderful while you're drinking
wonderful
them.
Too.
Yeah. Anything you want to add, Denise?
I think that's it. We're going to have to take a break soon and make sure your battery gets charged on your phone, and we'll come back and we're going to focus on acupressure and oils, and what else we're going to talk about? Some
herbs, essential oils, acupressure, and a few other self-care techniques you can do to get some instant relief from PMS symptoms.
So come back in just a few minutes. We'll see you soon.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.